Michigan, Father Superior, coming down from Mackinac and Sault Ste. Marie. The water Huron rolls down to Lake Erie, falls into Ontario and runs on out to sea. The Great Lakes are a diamond on the hand of North America, a bright shining jewel on that friendship bordering. It's a freshwater highway coming down from Canada, and all along the coastline you can hear the people sing. Sweet Mother Michigan, Father Superior, coming down from Mackinac and Sault Ste. Marie. Blue water Huron rolls down to Lake Erie, falls into Ontario and runs on out to sea. Hardy are the seamen on the ships that load the iron ore, hauling out of Thunder Bay, bound for Buffalo. And hardy are the fishermen, like their fathers were before they say, bury me at sea when it's my time to go. Sweet Mother Michigan, Father Superior, coming down from Mackinac and Sault Ste. Marie. Blue water Huron rolls down to Lake Erie, falls into Ontario and runs on out to sea. Down below the quarterdeck, old men mend the fishing nets, while upon the windy bridge, young men cursing to the wind. Up and down the Windsor Straits, the wives and mothers lie awake. They pray Our Lady of the Lake will bring them home again. Singing Sweet Mother Michigan, Father Superior, coming down from Mackinac and Sault Ste. Marie. Blue water Huron rolls down to Lake Erie, falls into Ontario and runs on out to sea. Singing Sweet Mother Michigan, Father Superior, coming down from Mackinac and Sault Ste. Marie. Blue water Huron rolls down to Lake Erie, falls into Ontario and runs on out to sea. Runs on out to sea. Runs on out to sea. Pat Daly, thank you very much. I've been very fortunate in my career to meet some amazing people. Quite a few years ago now, I met a fellow named Ed Begance. He was from Grosse Pointe, Michigan, and when I met him, he was 95 years old, a rather small man. He was known as the Commodore, and even though he was 95 years old, he had a sailor's handshake still. He told me some very, very interesting stories. One, when he was just a young guy, he lived with his grandmother in Detroit, and we'd go down to the foot of Woodward Street right on the Detroit River and watch all the boat traffic. This one particular day, a new vessel had tied up right at the dock there, and he was looking very longingly at it, singing beautiful lines. And some of the guys on the deck, they noticed him, and they invited him aboard to show him the ship. So he was much obliged when they showed him the main salon and showed him the dining rooms, some of the staterooms. Took him down to the engine room, showed him that, took him into the kitchen, gave him an apron, a knife, and some potatoes. Next thing he knew, he had shoved off for Port Huron. He had to tell his grandmother that he wasn't going to be home for dinner. He told me, I was shanghaied into this job when I was a kid. He sailed for almost his entire career with the Pittsburgh Steamship Company, which became the U.S. Steel Great Lakes Fleet, also known as the Tin Stackers because of their silver funnels. And he said, you know, up on Lake Superior, if it's real warm on the lower lakes, hot and muggy, up on Lake Superior, it's a little bit cooler, and sometimes the lake will settle down, just be like a mirror, just smooth as glass, you know. And if you're on a midnight passage, you're on the wheel in a pilot house, and the stars up there in Lake Superior, they're so close and they're so bright, especially if there's no moon, you know. And he said the stars are above shining, and then they're reflecting off the lake. He said it's just like sailing through the heavens. He also made one other statement that was very profound. And he said, when we're out there on the lakes, things happen. Now, he's not talking about things such as shipwrecks or big storms or loss of life. He's talking about things like graduations and birthdays and reunions and things like that. So each one of the sailors has to deal with that in their own way. And that's what the song is about, called Standing at the Wheel. Midnight on Superior, the midnight watch is on, and the dim glow from the gauges lights the pilot house till dawn. The star-filled sky above on this still and moonless night mirrors off of the lake surface in dazzling starlight. It's like I'm standing at the wheel of a graceful ship, just sailing through the heavens on a timeless trip, like a flower that opens its petals unfurled. All seems right with the world. Wheeling on the starlit night, my thoughts can travel far through space and time, to distant shores and distant days before. Things happen when you're out here day after day. The season's through, from births to graduations. It's a different point of view, just like standing at the wheel of this graceful ship, just sailing through the heavens on a timeless trip, like a flower that opens its petals unfurled. All seems right with the world. Midnight on Superior, the midnight watch is on, and I won't stop thinking of you until the break of dawn. The star-filled sky above on this still and moonless night mirrors off of the lake surface in dazzling starlight, and we're standing at the wheel ship, just sailing through together on a lifelong trip, like a flower that opens its petals unfurled. All seems right with the world, like a flower that opens its petals unfurled. All seems right with the world. Thank you very, very much. It sounds like some of you guys want to do some singing, and you're certainly welcome to do that, you know. And, you know, you don't even have to know the words either. You can just make a joyful noise. That's all I care. That's what the sailors did, you know. Most of those guys couldn't sing. They could just, they sang loud enough, and it would help propel the vessel along in the sailing vessels, you know. But this is a song that I learned when I was a youngster. And it's a song that celebrates an amazing engineering feat. See, this song really predates when a lot of European Americans lived in this part of the country. They lived in places on the eastern seaboard, southern seaboards, places such as Boston, Massachusetts, Portland, Maine, and New York City, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Savannah, Georgia, and New Orleans, Louisiana. And there's a reason why a lot of people didn't live in this part of the country, a lot of European Americans, and that's because they really could get here on foot. And back in those days, there weren't any trains or automobiles, certainly no airplanes, so, you know, you could go on foot, or if you were lucky enough, you had a horse, you could get here on horseback, or a roundabout way by boat. That was a very, very interesting way. And that was why John Jacob Astor decided, well, let's build a human-made waterway that connected the Atlantic Ocean with the Great Lakes region for the fur trade. American Fur Company. And so it was about, twice as wide as this room was long. And it's about half as high from the floor to the ceiling. That's how deep it was. On each bank, there was a path where animals would walk, known as Clinton's Ditch, and also known as the Erie Canal. I got a mule and her name is Sal, 15 miles on the Erie Canal. She's a good old worker and a good old pal. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. We hauled some barges in our day, filled with lumber, coal, and hay. And we know every step of the way, from Albany to Buffalo. Low Bridge, everybody down. Low Bridge, for we're coming to a town. And you'll always know your neighbor, you'll always know your pal, if you ever navigated on the Erie Canal. We better get along on our way, oh gal. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. There's not another mule as good as Sal. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. Get up there, Sal, here comes a lock. We'll make row about 6 o'clock. One more trip, then back we'll go. Right on back home to Buffalo. Low Bridge, everybody down. Low Bridge, for we're coming to a town. And you'll always know your neighbor, you'll always know your pal, if you ever navigated on the Erie Canal. Where would I go if I lost my pal? 15 miles on the Erie Canal. There's not another view as good as Sal. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. I had a friend that got her sore. Now he's got a broken jaw 'cause she let go with her iron toe and kicked him clear back to Buffalo. Low Bridge, everybody down. Low Bridge, for we're coming to a town. And you'll always know your neighbor, you'll always know your pal if you ever navigated on the Erie Canal. Well, you'll always know your neighbor, you'll always know your pal if you ever navigated on the Erie Canal. Thomas Ellen wrote that in 1913. As being a folk singer, it's important to recognize your own roots. I guess my roots probably were a cross between the Kingston Trio and Weavers, a little bit of Black Sabbath too. What? Really, more like Led Zeppelin, I guess. But as a matter of fact, during the COVID years, I guess we're kind of still in it. But I did, I couldn't go get a haircut or anything like that, and hair got longer and longer and longer and longer. And then I watched this, and you're watching TV all the time. I watched this documentary on Led Zeppelin, and it came out a few years ago, and I took a look at Robert Plant. And then I took a look in the mirror. I said, "Oh my God, I look like Robert Plant, and that's not a good look." But then everybody kept saying, "Man, your hair looks great." So I'm keeping it longer, I guess. At any rate, it's important. The people that also inspired you, that first song that I sang, I actually learned from a great legendary folk singer named Bob Gibson. Amazing 12-string player, banjo player, great songwriter, and very dynamic performer. And this next song I learned from another legendary Illinois folk singer, a fellow named Art Thiem. I first heard this 42 years ago at the North Country Folk Festival, and it's a wonderful song written by a fellow from Ann Arbor, Michigan, named Craig Johnson, who would spend his time with his grandmother up in the Keweenaw Peninsula in the summertime. And this is his song, Thanks to Cold Waters. I traveled this country from the Keweenaw headlands, where the wild goes to cry, or the rocks to the sea, or the cold inland ocean to the Manitou Island, far away from my home, strange places to see. The stars, they shine bright on the south shore tonight. The Keweenaw light sweeps over the bay. And if dreams could come true, I'd still be there with you, on the banks of cold waters at the close of the day. I've been through the boom towns of a century dying, past the ruins of the smelters and the rusted head frames, down through Mohawk, Amique, Calumet, and Loria, and 100 sad places that are past with no names. The stars, they shine bright on the south shore tonight. The Keweenaw light sweeps over the bay. And if dreams could come true, I'd still be there with you, on the banks of cold waters at the close of the day. I counted the cross ties, the dried bones of the railroad that stretched from the dawn to the end of the day. And I counted the miles between me and my true love, lines on the highways that carried me away. The stars, they shine bright on the south shore tonight. The Keweenaw light sweeps over the bay. And if dreams could come true, I'd still be there with you. On the banks of cold waters at the close of the day. All the leaves have turned golden, the summer's nigh over. The wild geese fly low over Lake Manganese. In that faraway country, you walk by slow rivers, alongside cold waters, beneath the whispering trees. The stars, they shine bright on the south shore tonight. The Keweenaw light sweeps over the bay. And if dreams could come true, I'd still be there with you. On the banks of cold waters at the close of the day. The stars, they shine bright on the south shore tonight. The Keweenaw light sweeps over the bay. And if dreams could come true, I'd still be there with you. On the banks of cold waters at the close of the day. Thank you. Well, when I first started in this line of work, as you can gather by what I had making mention of Led Zeppelin and stuff, I was a lead guitarist for rock bands and stuff. But I really fell in love in college with the sound of the acoustic guitar. And I actually haven't played an electric guitar in about 35 years. Just because the acoustic guitar sounds so fantastic to me. The steel string primarily, but classicals are pretty cool too. But then after I was doing 10 years of kind of a potpourri of folk songs, I decided to put out an album of lake ballads. And this was sponsored, I was pushed in this direction a little bit by an organization in Philadelphia called the Odyssey, a Philadelphia Folk Song Society. They had a program that brought folk music into the classroom, okay, into schools. And so Kim and Reggie Harris were kind of my sponsors. They said, you ought to put something together. So I did, and I said, well, I'll put together something where I'm from. I'm from the Great Lakes, so I put together some Great Lake songs. The kids liked it, and I enjoyed it too. And then one thing led to another. I learned another lake ballad and that type of thing. And finally put out an album called Cold Winds and in 1991. And actually the first album before that had some lake ballads on it, lake songs on it. But I wanted to do just specifically thematic Great Lakes. And I've been in over my head ever since. Because there's so much material that I've come across. Some of it I've written on my own. Some of it other contemporary writers have written. And some of it traditional. And this falls into that latter category. In the schooner days, the schooners are the big windjammers that plied the waters of originally the Chesapeake, but then along the Great Lakes. And they were big sailing ships. And in the old days, they didn't have steam engines or anything like that, or even little gasoline engines. So everything had to be done aboard ship by hand. And the merchant vessels, sometimes that work, much of the time, this work was done to songs known as shanties. There were two types. One used as some mechanism aboard. For instance, the mechanism to lift the anchor out of the water, a weighing anchor called a windlass or a capstan. And those had a very even rhythm because you're working with a ratcheted machine, okay? But then other songs you were using at the lines or the halyards. And those were you were playing with the wind a little bit, so you had to adjust your rhythm a little bit. And so I would like to do one of those with you. This is a very simple song. It's called Haulaway Joe. Some of you I know already know it, but if you aren't familiar with it, it's a call response song. And I'll sing a line of words, and I want you folks to sing this line of words. Away, haul away, we'll haul away Joe. But I don't want you to sing it like that. I want you to sing it with an attitude. Okay? Away, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. Something like that. Okay, let's try it, everybody. Away, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. A little more testosterone, please. Away, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. All right, now this was collected by Ivan Walton back in 1932 in the city of Chicago. Robert Brokenback Cullen gave him the verses to this song. And this is a Lakes version of a Deepwater shanty. So, in Buffalo. Now, as I go on, sorry, I didn't mean to start and then. But as the song progresses, when you guys singing your part, I will lead it at the beginning, but I'm going to fade out and let you guys take it on your own, okay? Because that's how it was used. And see if we can develop this synergy aboard ship. Now, maybe what I ought to do is this type of thing. So you kind of know that, you kind of feel like, oh, we're... See, this is what happens when you haven't done a show in about 6 months, folks. You get carried away, so okay. In Buffalo, I met a gal as trim as any daisy. Away, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. In Bonnie's bar, I lost my coin and also Mistress Maisie. Away, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. I make him into Bonnie's bar and called out loud and long. Away, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. 10 able men come follow me, we're sailing with the dawn. Away, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. Away, Haulaway, I'll sing to you of Nancy. Way, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. Oh, now I have a New York girl who's just my cut and fancy. Away, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. Oh, Nancy is my New York girl, and I must sing her praises. Away, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. Oh, she loves me, she waits for me. Oh, yes, she does like blazes. Way, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. Oh, once I sailed the oceans wide to earn my rum and taties. Way, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. But now I'm on a Great Lakes tub as fat as any lady. Away, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. Oh, once I sailed the oceans wide for Chinese silks and spices. Way, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. But now our hold is full of coal, my bunk with hungry lices. Away, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. Away, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway together. Way, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. Away, Haulaway, we'll haul for sunny weather. Away, Haulaway, we'll Haulaway Joe. Play the halyard. That's well. Give yourselves a nice round of applause. What is interesting is quite a few years ago, I was doing a music cruise on the schooner Manitou, two-masted schooner out of Traverse City. And we didn't sing that song. We sang, I did a concert the night before we got underway the next morning. And we sang a song called Hangin' Johnny, which is similar, you know. And somebody, part of the passengers, or what I called the cargo, they wanted to sing while we hauled sail. And I said, well, I guess we can do that. And I hadn't really done too much of that type of thing. And I looked at the captain and said, well, I suppose we could do that. And then the first mate said, nah, let's just get the sails up. I got sailing, you know. And I said, well, the captain, Dave McGinnis, he was pretty cool on that. He said, well, tell you what we'll do. We'll do the fore, the foresail, and we'll just get it up there, and then we'll do the main with the song. How's that? And, okay, all right. And so we hauled the fore up, and the hands were slapping each other, but we got it up okay. And then just before it was done, they did this thing called 2/6 heave to kind of really set the sail so that it was right. And they had to do that twice. And then we sang for the hauling of the main. And that sail just jumped right up the mast. Didn't even have to sing 2/6 heave. And so afterwards, you know, I went back to the captain was at the wheel, Captain Dave. And I said, so what do you think? He said, I've never seen a sail go up that fast in my life. That's not me. That was a novice singing a song, and the work I'm letting the work come through the song, so. Now, if some of you folks who haven't seen me before may be wondering, well, he's doing a lot of these lake songs. I wonder, is he going to do that song? Sure. But there's always a price to pay when you ask a folk singer to sing a song that was a huge worldwide mega hit. And that price to be paid can only be paid not in dollars, but in information. This vessel was named after the Chief Executive Officer of the Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company of Milwaukee. They had the boat built, leased to Columbia Transportation, the division of Ogilvy Norton. And people who knew him said Edmund Fitzgerald was never the same when his namesake sank, November 10th, 1975, in eastern Lake Superior. What is interesting, a couple days after the news, there was a songwriter in Los Angeles flying back to his home in Canada. And he picked up the newspaper that was from Detroit, the Detroit Free Press. He read the lead line, which was, "The legend lives on from the Chippewa down of the big lake they called Gitchagumi." It's okay, folks. A good songwriter finds a great line anywhere. What Gordon Lightfoot didn't realize is the melody that he happened upon ended up being researched by a local musicologist, Sean Lay, up in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, who was studying the music of the Sault Ste. Marie Ojibwe. And he found the melody note for note in one of the warrior songs that had been sung in that nation for hundreds of years. And over the years, this song has been a testament to the 29 men who lost their lives that night. A stormy, stormy night. The White Hurricane. But as the years passed by, people gather on that anniversary to remember the vessel. It has come to be a celebration of all the sailors who lost their lives on the Great Lakes. Over 30,000. The legend lives on from the Chippewa down of the big lake they call Gitchagumi. The lake, they said, never gives up her dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. With the load of iron ore, 26,000 tons more than the Edmund Fitzgerald weighed empty. But that good ship and crew were a bone to be chewed when the gales of November come early. The ship was the pride of the American side, coming back from some hill in Wisconsin. And as big freighters go, she was bigger than most, with a good crew and Captain well seasoned, concluding some terms with a couple of steel firms when she left fully loaded for Cleveland. And later that night, when that ship's bell rang, could it be the north wind they'd been feeling? The wind in the wires made a tattletale sound as a wave broke over the railing. And every man knew as the captain did too, was the witch of November come stealing. The dawn came late and the breakfast had to wait, when the gales of November came slushing. When afternoon came, it poured freezing rain in the face of a hurricane west wind. When supper time came, the old cook came on deck, saying, fellas, it's too rough to feed you. Then at 7 p.m., a rogue wave came in. He cried, fellas, it's been good to know ya. Then the captain wired in, he had water coming in, and his good ship and crew was in peril. And later that night, when the ship's lights went out of sight, came the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours? The searchers all say they'd have made Whitefish Bay if they put 15 more miles behind her. She might have split up, or she might have capsized, or she might have broke deep and took water. But all that remains are the faces and the names of the wives, the sons, and the daughters. Lake Rose Superior sings in the rooms of her ice-water mansion. Old Michigan steams like a young man's dreams. Her islands and bays are for sportsmen. Then farther below Lake Ontario takes in what Lake Erie can send her. And the iron boats go, as the mariners all know, with the gales of November, remember. And rustic old hall in Detroit they pray at the Maritime Sailors Cathedral. And the church bell chimed till it rang 29 times for each man on the Edmund Fitzgerald. So the legend lives on from the chip on down of the big lake they call Gitchagumi. Superior, they said, never gives up her dead when the gales of November come early. Gordon Lightfoot. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to do one more song, and then we can take a little bit of a break. And it feels so good to be up here on stage here at the Two-Way Street. Thank you very much for coming out. I first graced this stage in 1977, so it was a few years ago. Back before I went blonde. I'd like to do a song off my most recent album. It came out in 2016, called Loving Light. And this is in the same general vicinity. It's a song that I always dedicate to Joel because he encouraged me to write this song, inadvertently. Joel was a member of Blue Horizon, and when we get together and I'd come up with a melody or something, and he said, boy, I can hardly wait to, maybe try a hand at writing some words. And I usually beat him to it, as a matter of fact, because, but he was telling me about this story that one of his kids really liked about a fellow named William Riley. And so I did a little bit of research in this great book by Frederick Stonehouse called Haunted Lakes. And that's where the story came from. And what is interesting is along the south shore of Lake Superior between Whitefish Point, so that's about as far east on Lake Superior as you can get, to about 50 miles west in Munising, there used to be about every 10 miles a life-saving station there, okay? And because it was such treacherous waters that the life-saving service had, these surfmen that would do what they call beach patrol after dark. And basically what you were supposed to do is you go out and then you meet another surfman from the other station halfway, exchange a token, and then return back to the commanding officer, report what you see. Now, sometimes they didn't see anything other than just gulls and that type of thing. But sometimes if there was a wreck ashore, if there was somebody in distress, well, they would report back. They would shoot up a flare, and then a team would come out. And, well, it was in March of 1920. They had just opened up the station, and they were doing beach patrol. And sure enough, west of Crisp Point, they found this sailor encased in ice. And so they cut him out of the ice, took him back to Sault Ste. Marie, and so that the family could claim the body, which actually never really happened. So he was buried there. But the story doesn't end there, because periodically they see him walking along the beach, searching, you know. And so this song characterizes a young surfman, a lifesaver, who is about to go on his first beach patrol, and one of the old experienced guys kind of hazing him a little bit, telling him this story. You got to watch out for this guy, William Riley, who actually was on the John Owen that sank the previous November 1919. So this is called Riley's Ghost. It's for you, Joel. When the wind whips up in the waters along Superior's shipwreck coast, many miles of destination you must travel to reach your post. With your lantern you'll be searching for ships and sailors in distress. It's the duty of a surfman to bear witness. Back in March of 1920, west of Crisp Point in the ice, was found a frozen sailor. Old Man Winter claimed his price. William Riley was his name, late from the steamer John Owen's crew. But since that day, some folks will say they've seen his spirit too. Oh, the winds will rage and blow, pile up the drifting snow, and the wolves howl in harmony through the night. He's still out there on his own, and you know you're not alone as you walk this empty beach by lantern light. Oh, the winds will rage and blow, pile up the drifting snow, and the wolves howl in harmony through the night. He's still out there on his own, and you know you're not alone as you walk this empty beach by lantern light. Now some surfmen may boast and bluster about their valor and brave deeds, while in service to the sailors and those ships that are in need. But when the wind whips up these waters along Superior's shipwreck coast, while on patrol, keep an eye peeled for Riley's gold. Yes, on patrol, keep an eye peeled for Riley's gold. Thank you very much. Now, before I give up the stage, I want to just give a quick shout out to all the volunteers here to keep this wonderful place going. Let's give them a nice round of applause before Joel comes up. Also, you'll notice over on the piano there's some paraphernalia over there. There's some books for sale, some CDs for sale. You know, I've been in this long enough so that sometimes what happens is some of these songs kind of coalesce from one album to the next. A lot of times if I do a program on a specific subject, somebody will come up afterwards and say, well, do you have an album of all of these songs? And I said, no, but it's on this one, it's on this one, on this one, on this one, on this one, you know. So to mitigate that, I have put out a couple albums. Last fall I did one on my ghost program called Great Lakes Ghosts. And Sunday I'm going to Holland, Michigan for the Michigan Lighthouse Alliance. And I've recorded a lot of Lighthouse songs. And so I brought a few copies. It's just brand new. If you would like to take a look at that, it's called Lighthouse Legends. That's the name of the show. It would just what did Mark Carney say? Remastered, you know, and you know, updated or whatever. You know, it's just a bunch of songs. You put it in, you can listen to it, you know. So thank you so much, and I'll be back in a few minutes, and I'll be over there if anybody's interested in recording.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Lee Murdock again. Thank you for coming tonight. We're just going to take a short break, and like he said, there's plenty of CDs and books. Definitely worth getting them all. Christmas is coming. All kinds of other holidays are coming. My birthday is coming. Or no, actually, that already happened. But tomorrow we have a sing-around here at 2 o'clock. If you're interested, it's our general sing-around. So bring a guitar, bring a voice. Just listen if you want. It's really a fun experience. Tomorrow night at Acoustic Renaissance Series, John Gorka is going to be performing. Definitely a great performer that you want to see if you get a chance. Opening for that show will be Heather Styka, somebody who cut her teeth on this stage right here, so that's kind of an exciting thing, and it's fun to run into her once in a while. Next week, we have the Rough and Tumble, and it's a really neat couple from the East Coast coming in. They're just really a great young couple, just recognized as excellent songwriters, and you don't want to miss them. And so thank you so much. Stick around. We'll have a second set in just a few minutes. Thank you. All right, we're going to get started in just another minute here. Thanks for sticking around. Don't forget there's CDs and books here that Lee doesn't want to take home. So the best way you can support an artist is to buy a CD or a book or come to a live show. So thank you for doing that tonight. And yeah, tomorrow we have a sing around at 2 o'clock if you're interested in that. Tomorrow night, John Gorka at Acoustic Renaissance. And then next week we have Rough and Tumble. Definitely an act you'll want to see. But so, ladies and gentlemen, for a second set, let's welcome Lee Murdock. Thank you.
I had a couple requests. This is your part. Hooray for a race down the lakes. Try it. Hooray for a race down the lakes. I'll sing some of the words right here. You won't know them, so you probably shouldn't sing. Hooray for a race down the lakes. Let's try it once again. Hooray for a race down the lakes. Hooray for a race down the lakes. Hooray for a race down the lake. The tug towed out the moonlight and dropped us in the gale, with the schooner law before us, the porter on our tail. See your canvas going on to a hearty halyard song. Hooray for a race down the lake. Oh, the winds out of the nor'west stand a-blowing all the night. You can see them big seas rolling with their bonnets all in white. And off our starboard rail are 100 sail. Hooray for a race down the lake. Hooray for a race down the lake. Hooray for a race down the lakes. And off our starboard rail are 100 sail. Hooray for a race down the lakes. I have to take some spray over the side here, folks. Sorry about that, but you know, as they say in the trade, things occur. I could say something more obtuse, like feces facilitates, but nah. Hooray for a race down the... There it is. Hooray for a race down the lakes. And off our starboard rail are 100 sail. Hooray for a race down the lake. To the windward of the law we points our long jib boom, and high atop our main truck goes the old cabin boom. We will never shorten sail till we bury Hurley rail. Hooray for a race down the lakes. Our rainbow's playing forward and a foaming wake is aft. Her neck is all a-slanting beneath her groaning mast. You can see the old man grin as she bullies in the wind. Hooray for a race down the lake. Hooray for a race down the lakes. Hooray for a race down the lakes. You can see the old man grin as she believes in the wind. Hooray for a race down the lake. See us walk upon the foremast at our stern, the dimming shore, as we leave the law that damn forth all others by the score. See us gaining to the lead, pay the groaning mast no heed. Hooray for a race down the lakes. We'll skirt the western shore, for ahead is Milwaukee. All day and night we'll drive her till the straits are on our lee. Just let the old ponds roar, as they've often done before. Hooray for a race down the lakes. Hooray for a race down the lakes. Hooray for a race down the lakes. Just let the old ponds roar as they've often done before. Hooray for a race down the lake. Hooray for a race down the lake. Hooray for a race down the lakes. We will never shorten sail till we bury Hurley Rail. Hooray for a race down the lake. Thank you very, very much. I was for quite a few years involved with the Illinois Humanities Council, doing programs for them in rural parts of the state of Illinois. It's where a community could pay $75 and then have a good artist come in and do a program. The artist was then paid by the Humanities Council, and they wanted you to do thematic type programs, you know. So I put together a number of programs for them. One was, in 2012, one was called War of 1812, the war that developed two nations, United States and Canada. Okay. Thunder in the Distance, Midwestern Perspectives on the Civil War. Folk songs from Illinois and that type of thing about the Civil War. And some of that was due to trying to survive in the calendar year. And so in March, I would quite often go into senior residences and the like, doing a program of Irish music, you know, Irish sing-along songs and that like. And so I put together a program for them called From the Old Sod to the New Prairie, the Irish Immigrants in Illinois. And I'm in the middle of recording an album of that, the way Paul McCartney recorded his album, first one. Oh, I'm doing all the instruments myself. We'll see if it ever sees the light, folks. I've had some amazing performers, musicians record with me over the years, and I got to do as good as those folks. So we'll see what happens. But this is one of those songs that's going to be on that album, and I previously recorded with Blue Horizon, Joel and Michael Bradbury. But for this recording, I decided to record it again. Written by Peter Jones, whose family came from Ireland. And his family saved letters that came from the old country. And his family was from a place called Kilkelly. Kilkelly, Ireland, 1860, my dear and loving son John. Your good friend, the schoolmaster Pat McNamara, is so good as to write these words down. Your brothers have all gone to find work in England. The house is so empty inside, and the crop of potatoes is sorely infected. To a half of them bad. And your sister Bridget and Patrick O'Donnell are going to be married in June. Your mother says not to work on the railroad and to be coming home as soon. Kilkelly, Ireland, 1870, my dear loving son John. Hello to the missus and to your 4 children, may they grow healthy and strong. Our Michael has got in a wee bit of trouble, I'm guessing he never will learn. And because of the dampness, there's no turf to speak of, and now we have nothing to burn. And Bridget is happy, you named a child for her, and now she's got 6 of her own. Oh, you say you found work, but you don't say what kind, or when you will be coming home. Kilkelly, Ireland, 1880. Dear Michael and John, my son, I'm sorry to tell you the very sad news that your dear old mother is gone. We buried her down at the church in Kilkelly. Your brothers and Bridget were there. You don't have to worry, she died very quickly. Remember her in your prayer. And it's so good to hear that Michael's returning. With money, he's sure to buy land. For the crops is so poor that the people are selling for any price that they can. Kilkelly, Ireland, 1890. My dear and loving son, John, I guess that I'm getting close on to 80. It's 30 years since you've gone. Because of all the money you sent me, I'm still living out on my own. And Michael has built himself a fine house, and Bridget's daughters have grown. And thank you for sending your family picture, the lovely young women and men. And you say you might even come to visit. What joy to see you again. Kilkelly, Ireland, 1892. My dear brother John, I'm sorry that I did not write to you sooner to tell you Father passed on. He was living with Bridget. She said he was cheerful and healthy right down to the end. Oh, you should have seen him play with the grandchildren of Pat McNamara, your friend. And we buried him alongside of Mother down at the Kilkelly churchyard. He was a strong and a feisty old man, considering his life was so hard. And it's funny the way he kept talking about you. He called for you in the end. Now why don't you think about coming to visit? We'd sure love to see you again. Mermaid of Ontario had long, green, stringy hair-yo, and a seaweed gown to wear-yo. but she had no one to marry. Oh, the mermaid of Ontario loved a big-mouthed bass named Larry-o, who lived in Lake St. Clario under the St. Clair Ferry-o. Oh, the mermaid of Ontario sent a seagull emissario to ask that big bass Larry-o if he'd consent to marry-o. Oh, no, 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 said Larry-o, my life I will not share-yo. I'd rather play solitaire-yo, sit around in my underwear-yo, read books from the fish library-yo. He said, you're so ordinary-o, and I'm extraordinary-o, and I dress so debonair-o. I've a fine vocabulary-o, I learned from the fish dictionary-o. Before I marry you, I'd marry-o a Guernsey cow from the dairy-o, or eat a poison berry-o, wind up with fish dysentery-o. Oh, the poor mermaid of Ontario, 'twas more than she could bury-o. So she cried for they, then she swam away with the yuppie little guppy named Gary-o. Now they're a happy pair-o, 'cause he's a millionaire-o. In his yacht at Lake St. Clario, they cuddle in a cozy chair-o, listen to his underwater stereo. And that big mouth bass named Larry-o married a cow from the dairy-o. She fed him a poison berry-o, he wound up in the fish cemetery-o. And that's the whole scenario. Thank you. Don't blame me, that's Shel Silverstein. Well, I had a request for this one too. I'm going to do it. This goes back to the old days. And it's... I got the opportunity to watch an amazing guitarist from England, Martin Carthy, at Stages Music Hall in Chicago many, many years ago. And he was such an amazing player, or still is, I guess. Certain Martin Carthy. He was an electric guitarist with Steel Ice Band, and of course, just an amazing acoustic guitarist too, great folklorist. And I was inspired by one of the pieces that he was playing, and actually I also saw him at a place called Orphans, and it was a room that was a little bit different than this, but I was like sitting like right in the front row, just where you guys are, you know, and he was just right here. You know, I was just like mesmerized, so I put together this little piece, and I was kind of searching around for a title. And I remember it was about this time, I was a new uncle, and 4 or 5 years, and a couple nieces we were visiting, my brother and his wife, and the nieces. I was put in charge of the girls down in the basement, okay, and so I was overseeing what was going on. We were having a great time, and they were practicing their dance steps, kind of like on the balance beam, but on the back of the couches. And I kind of noticed that there were some very, 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 very sharp-cornered tables right on the end of each couch. I said, are you sure you guys are supposed to be doing this? And they said, oh, yeah, Mom and Dad let us do this all the time. 35 years later, I make this statement at the Christmas Ship concert in Maple Street Chapel just down the road. And they're in the audience. And my brother Guy is kind of sitting there, you know, with a kind of little smile on his face. And the two girls who are now grown women, and have one has children and stuff, and it's like they start sinking down in the pew. They're going like this. And then as soon as I said that, Mom looked over and gave him this look. So ever since then, I've kind of got a little heat from her. But this is called Bouncing on the Bed. I was traveling out east, traveling to Wolf Island, which is on the Canadian side, where Lake Ontario drains into the St. Lawrence River. I was doing a program there for the Folklore Society on the island, and also a program for the school on a Friday morning, I guess it was. And after my 12th hour driving, my wife Joanne was trying to keep me awake. And she had just gotten a call from a fan of mine named Rob Saunders, who related this story to me a couple years before, but I had misplaced my recollection of it. Thank God for fans who remind you of these things. And he told me this story, related through Joanne, about his youth spent with his grandfather, Alan Rippenhagen, up on Lake Erie in Silver Creek, New York. Now, Rob actually year-round lived on the Chesapeake, but he would spend his summers up there with his grandfather. His grandfather ran a marina there, and every 4th of July, Rips Marina sponsored a international swim meet. People would come from Canada to the United States to compete. Well, in 1963, when Rob was 12, on July 3rd, the village elders of Silver Creek got together and decided the night before to clean out the sewer lines into Lake Erie. There was no swim meet that year, folks. And his grandfather was so upset, yelling at people near and far, even on the telephone with some of his friends from the Prohibition days. One of them said, well, what are you grousing about? You ought to talk to my son. He said, why should I do that? And he answered, well, he's the Attorney General of the United States, Robert F. Kennedy. So he did. And within a few months, a lawsuit was filed against the village of Silver Creek for water quality issues, and that was the first such lawsuit in the United States, and the first small step to what 9 years later became the Clean Water Act. This is Rob's story called What About the Water? When I was just a young boy, about 12 years of age or so, I'd go down to Lake Erie shore, watch the freighters come and go, and I'd swim out in that water just to see what I could find. A pure act of adventure, leaving all cares behind. It was later on that summer when the lakeshore changed for worse. Bitter pools of pollution and raw sewage was dispersed. It flowed out into that water. Not a place could I find to swim out for adventure and leave my cares behind. I asked, what about the water? What about the lake? What about the people whose future is at stake? Think about the children who've yet to pass this way. Should we sacrifice tomorrow for convenience here today? Think about the water. It's about the water. A village was to blame for what occurred that day. For years, industry used the lake to wash their waste away. They said it didn't matter. They said they didn't care until someone stood before them and a lawsuit was prepared. Grandpa Allen was that man who stood up to the town. Said he knew old Joe Kennedy from the bootleg underground. He had lake water in his blood, and he would not step aside when that lake shore was in peril. This was not an act of pride, he said. What about the water? What about the lake? What about the people whose future is at stake? Think about the children who've yet to pass this way. Should we sacrifice tomorrow for convenience here today? Think about the water. It's about the water. My grandpa was a great man, and on him you could depend. He worked Lake Erie shoreline his whole life until the end. He cared about that water, and he cared about the lake. He sacrificed his fortune, all for our future's sake. So tell them, think about the water, think about the lake, think about the people whose future is at stake. What about the children who've yet to pass this way? Should we sacrifice tomorrow for convenience here today? Think about the water, oh, think about the lake. Think about the people whose future is at stake. What about the children who've yet to pass this way? Should we sacrifice tomorrow for convenience here today? Think about the water. It's about the water. What about the water? Thank you very much. This next song was written by a Canadian songwriter, David Francie. Met him many years ago. He wrote a song about the area where he grew up. Now, this was a fellow who had a very, very thick Scottish accent. You know what that sounds like? I mean, you don't even really know what they're saying. You can't understand what they're going to say at all. It's just, it's like they're guttural or something, you know? But he grew up on the St. Lawrence. And from Scotland, of course, and he talked about how growing up it was kind of depressed and not a great place for, not a lot of prospects for that. And that's what this song is about. Now, normally you folks might know that I don't get very political. Of course, that last song has been about water quality issues, and that some people might say that's kind of political, eh? I was very disappointed that we didn't pass the Build Back Better Act, to be honest with you. A lot of money could go towards rebuilding our infrastructure and green jobs and things like that. So I offer this song with that in mind, so maybe we can get something done. This is called Milltowns. Heard a voice called down from the lonesome north, singing songs of work and worth. Hearted stories all the way from the hard rock towns. I can picture Saturday night, tires squealing from the main street lights. Hear the creaking cables of the cage as it slowed down. Hearted stories from the streets of the mining towns. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. follow me in, boys. Don't follow me down. Help me out, will you? Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me down. I was raised by the seaway side, staring out at the river wide. Rode my bike up the bridge and looked back at the paper mill. Through the windows I try and see what the future held for the likes of me. I can hear the shift change siren still in the Seaway City by the stacks of the paper mill. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me down. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me down. Follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me down. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me down. The towns that rose with the mines and mills, watch the future pass like they're standing still. The kids all leave like light when the sun goes down. And you go back now and you walk the streets. There's parking lots where the buildings used to be. Oh, night still falls, but it doesn't make a sound. Long shadows on the streets of the coal mill towns. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me down. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me down. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me in, boys. Don't follow me down. Francie. Oh. This is a lot of fun, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. It's just like old times. Well, got time for a couple more songs, maybe? One more song, I guess. Two? Okay. Seven? Seven? I don't know if I can do seven more and get out of here by 10:15. My songs last 20 minutes. What are you talking about? We'll be here all week. Well, let's see here. Oh, I'll do this one. This is a song that I put together as a melody first and played it for the guys, Mike and Joel. And it morphed into this. It was originally just going to be an instrumental piece, but it became a description of three of my favorite places at one of my, perhaps my favorite time of day. It's called Midnight Lullaby. Midnight Anchorage, all is quiet here. Aboard the schooner on the sea. The endless motion of lapping water waves soothes the soul subconsciously. Diamond stars in the heavens shine their light on the beach along the bay. A gentle wafting of soft sea breezes, the rigging whispers to us where we lay. Midnight mountainside, all is quiet here. Above the valley of the moon, the distant notion of rustling pine boughs portends of slumber coming soon. Diamond stars in the heavens shine their light on the stillness of the lake. The gentle murmur of alpine waters mingles with the songs night creatures make. Thinking on events from this day, they drift through my mind, the images at play. Not a worry confounds us, unconsciousness surrounds us, sails unfurl as dreams get underway. Midnight light, all is quiet here, within the comfort of our home. The endless motion of flaming embers is a hypnosis on hearthstone. Diamond stars in the heavens shine their light on the snow across the way. A gentle fragrance from hot tea and honey infuses contentment this day. Midnight lullaby, all is quiet here, within the heart of all I know. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lee Murdock. Would you have time for one more maybe for us? Wait, 7 more? Is that what I heard? No.
That's what I heard.
So thank you so much for supporting the Two-Way Street Coffee House. We've been doing this for over 50 years weekly, weekly concerts, supporting artists like Lee Murdock. So thank you for coming today. Please come next week. Grab some flyers on the way out. Tell your friends. And ladies and gentlemen, Lee Murdock's going to close it out with an encore for us. So what are you going to play? Are you going to do an a cappella, or what are you going to do? Oh, I knew it. This is awesome. But thank you, Lee.
You're welcome. Many, 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 many years ago, before I became blonde, I used to attend an open mic out in Geneva, Illinois, at a place called the Mining Company, Geneva Mining Company. And it's no longer there, but the Fox Valley Folklore Society got together on a regular basis, either there or a place down the river, Michelangelo's in Aurora. And it was a very, very nice evening. And I think it was probably May. It was a little bit warmer, but it wasn't, really hot. It wasn't the summer. And when things closed down back in those days, it was about, usually they kicked us out about 12:15 or something like that, 12:30, 1 o'clock. And I was still working at the time, so I had to get up like at 6 and get to work in Elk Grove Village, But we just didn't want to let the evening end, and I can vividly remember there was a bench right outside the place, and they had closed it down, and a good friend of mine, and probably some of yours too, Jackie Blevins, we were out there sitting and just enjoying the evening and reminiscing a little bit. I know when you're like 29 years old, you're not supposed to reminisce. I get that, but we were doing that, thinking about the good old days and that type of thing, when we were in high school or whatever. I don't know, but and she sang this song, and I learned it from her. And Jackie Manning, of course, now is Small Potatoes, and amazing artists on their own, Rich and Jackie. But I always enjoy singing this, and many times end my programs with this song called The Parting Glass. And so until next time, I'd like to wish you all good health. May it always be a fair wind that fills your sails. I'll leave you with this. Oh, for all the money that e'er I spent it in good company. And for all the harm that e'er I did, alas, was done to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Oh, for all the comrades that e'er I had, they're sorry for my going away. And for all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they begged me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise while you should not, I will gently rise and softly call, good night and joy be with you all. Yes, since it falls unto my lot that I should rise while you should not, I will gently rise and softly call, good night and joy be with you all. Till next time, thank you again.